Yo, how's it going, everybody? Qua Incredible here, and today I have a bit of an interesting topic. As you can see from the thumbnail, I'm going to be doing which one is stronger, Asta or Yuno, but not in the way you may think. Like, 'cause I'm not going to do like a straight up versus battle, because that's not really what I want to do. I'm going to do like who is stronger at certain, or not certain points, but at every point in the series. Like, I'm going to follow them from the very beginning, like as soon as they get their grimoires, all the way up until where we currently are in the manga. So don't worry, anime people, there will be spoilers, but that's towards the end, so you can stick around for this part. I will let you know, I promise. So in the very beginning, when they first get their grimoires, I believe that Yuno is stronger. Now, granted, you could argue that Yuno got captured by Ravichi and Asta had to save him, so that would make Asta stronger. Well, I disagree, just because I really don't think Yuno was looking for a fight at that exact moment. And Asta had when he got his grimoire, he had a universal counter to everything. Like, even if you look at the Magic Knight exam, when had to fight against the guy, I forget his name. I think his name was like Salim or something. He created like this gigantic wind tornado. Like, even like training up to that exam, had some crazy wind magic going into it already. So I do want to give him the edge early series leading up to the Magic Knights exam. And then after that, you have the dungeon arc where Asta gets his second sword and where finally gets Bell. Now, in the dungeon, I think Asta was stronger than just because it felt like he was able to fight with Mars a bit better. Now, some people could argue that Mars's mineral magic is like a bad matchup for Yuno's win, but I'm still on the fence about that myself. I can't say for 100% certain that it is a bad matchup, just because when Yuno was fighting against Rill, he didn't seem to have a problem when Rill was using rocks. That's the only reason why I'm not for sure if that is a guaranteed weakness at this point. But I'm basically basing it off of, I think that Asta was able to fight more on even terms with Mars. Granted, they both really kind of got beat up by Mars, and did one-shot him in the end with Bell, but this is, again, he still doesn't really know how to use Bell at that point, and Asta was able to fight better, so I'm going to give the edge to Asta at that point. And then after that, we don't really see a lot of Yuno in the story, like, because we have when the zombies attack with Rades, Yuno wasn't really in that like small arc or part at all. And then we have when the Eye of Midnight Sun was capturing kids to steal their mana, like Asta got key in that part, but we still didn't see Yuno at all. So it's kind of tough to gauge him since we don't even know where Yuno is at. And then directly after that, we have the Seabed Temple, which was also not part of either. So we can do directly after the Seabed Temple, but this would be when Asta doesn't have his arms. So I mean, of course, if you're comparing a no armed Asta to Yuno, then Yuno would have the edge. So I'm not really going to count that. I'm going to kind of take the Asta from the Witch's Forest. Like, take when the Witch Queen first healed his arms, like pre getting his black form, compared to the Yuno that we see in the town of Keaton when he fought against one of the 8 Shining Generals. Now, I believe in that sense, Yuno would be stronger, even though Asta has key now. Like, just seeing what Yuno was able to do during his fight with the 8 Shining Generals. Now, like, just seeing what he could do in his fight against the 8 Shining Generals, and the level of his magic with Bell amping it, and with also better control over her, I believe Yuno is significantly stronger than Asta at this point. To me, it's at this point, like the beginning of the Witch's Forest arc, Asta, and like when we had first seen Yuno again in that town, I think that Yuno had actually like gained a lot on Asta. Like, I think he had passed him a good bit, which is why I definitely think Asta needed the black form to kind of even it out, or not even it out, but like push him farther ahead. Because during the Witch's Forest arc, when he gets his black form, that puts Asta like head and shoulders above Yuno, in my opinion, because it makes him stronger, faster. Like, I definitely think that at the end of the Witch's Forest arc, that's definitely when Asta definitely became much stronger than Yuno did. And then I believe like the next solid measuring point would be when would be during the Crystal exam. Like, that's when we first get to see Yuno's Spirit Dive, and I truly believe that Yuno's like first shown Spirit Dive is still weaker than Asta's black form at this point. Like, I still think Asta is stronger than Yuno is at this point, just because, granted, can do Spirit Storm and stuff like that, but But my reason for thinking this is, like, if they were both to fight strong opponents, I feel like Asta in a one-on-one scenario would still be a bit more useful or fare better in these fights, just because I still believe the black form to be faster and like stronger than Spirit Dive is in this point. And I even believe if they fought each other at this point, Asta would probably come out on top, just because of the whole like anti-magic is really good, and I don't really think that any of spells at this point would be able to really slow down his black form or stop him, even though he can't stay in it that long at this point. But then we have like into the beginning of the elf reincarnation arc inside of the Eye of Midnight Sun headquarters, where becomes like part elf. Now when gets like this elf boost and becomes part elf, I definitely believe that he was much stronger than Asta was at this point, because he already has his Spirit Dive and everything, plus getting like an extra boost of having Elven Mana. He gets so much stronger than Asta does, and he can also last in his Spirit Dive form a lot longer than Asta can last in his black form. So that right there, I'm definitely going to give the edge to of course. Now, depending on how far you are into the series, this is kind of where the spoilers are going to start. So if you're anime only, you may want to be a bit careful. This is that spoiler warning I was talking about earlier. Now, in the manga, we have the part where I feel like the next like solid measuring point for where they are is into the Shadow Palace, when Asta and first meet up again, and they're going to fight against the Word Devil. I believe that is like a good marking point to compare them. Now, I believe at this point that Asta has caught up a lot to like caught up a lot to his Elven boost, but I still think like initially they are close to even, but I still want to give the edge to just a bit. But once like like kid inside of him starts to react, and like Asta's devil inside of him starts to resonate with the devil outside, even though they're portrayed to be even at this point, I kind of think Asta had a bit of an edge, just because the anti-magic inside of him started to like disintegrate actual mana around him. Now granted, was doing the same thing with actual physical objects, but I just think that Asta's one was a bit more powerful. I just want to give like a slight edge to him, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but if you disagree, just let me know why down below. And I think the next good point to compare them would be like towards the end of the fight with the Word Devil, when they were getting ready to land the final blows, like when Asta has his Black Divider and has his the sword of Zephyr. I believe at that point, it was just much stronger, because he has like the light of the first Wizard King helping him out to make him faster. The Elven boost is like really apparent. Like I believe it's definitely stronger, but a lot of it is kind of like not his own. So I definitely believe it's not fair at this point. But once loses his Elven boost, I honestly think that they are really close to even, if not Asta is edging him out at this point. Because I think a lot of why was stronger or even with Asta during the Shadow Palace arc was because of the Elven boost kind of putting him ahead. So I believe like post Shadow Palace, like at the end of all of the devil stuff and the Elven arc, like at the very end, I think Asta edges out just a bit, because lost all of his power-ups, while Asta still has maintained everything that he has gotten through these experiences and through the fight. So I really do think that Asta is stronger. Now, in the manga currently, we haven't seen yet, so it's tough to say how strong will be when we see him again. But if it follows suit like how it did last time when we didn't see for like 3 arcs, then might pop back up like significantly stronger. That's what I would hope to see. I do kind of like the dynamic of these two, kind of how they trade off who's stronger and motivate each other to get better. It's not like how in a lot of other series where the rival is significantly stronger than the protagonist to a point and then they just switch, or it's not like where the protagonist is always beating the rival and the rival's kind of trailing behind. I like how Black Clover, they often trade off back and forth. I enjoy that a lot. So let me know what you guys think. Who do you guys think was stronger at certain points of the series? Who do you think is stronger currently right now? I would love to see what you guys think down below. Like and sub if you enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in my next video.